this video is about the power of a name and the power of prophesying into somebody's life. So,
Prophesying.
Prophesying? Not prophesizing? Prophesying?
Prophesying.
Okay. So, Africans are well aware of the power of a name. So, my whole life, I've been told my name is Okolo, one who is well liked by the townspeople. From the day I was born, all the way through to adulthood. And then as I became adult, I started meeting other Nigerians, other Igbo people, other people named Okolo, and I started saying, oh, okay, well, what's Okolo mean in Igbo? And they would say, oh, well, it's just sort of like a name. Like, it just means like boy or male or, generic. And I've not done enough research to know whether they're right or not, because a lot of times culture is not passed on properly, especially in the current generations. There's a lot of people, whether it be through conversion to Christianity or through secularism or dropping of traditional beliefs and spirituality, whatever it is, they may not truly know what the meaning is. But anyway, the point is that in my mind, Okolo meant one who's well liked by the townspeople. And growing up, I always fit that. One other side, so that's the power of a name, and I'm going to get back to that. But then the power of prophesying into somebody's life. So Denzel Washington tells a story of this old black woman coming up to him, and if I get this exactly wrong, if I don't get this exactly right, excuse me, I'll try to find the video link and put it below. But the bottom line of what he says is this old black lady, came up to him and said, boy, you're going to reach millions of people with your voice and your message. And he has reached millions of people with his movies. Now, when she said that, he had no idea what she was talking about. He had no idea that he was, what it was going to be, how it was going to be. But she spoke that into his heart, into his spirit, into his soul. I have another example of speaking things. So when I first started karate with my taekwondo, with my second taekwondo instructor, he was a 10th degree black belt, Korean guy. I think at the time he was the only 10th degree black belt in America. He was an old Korean guy, old school, used to have the bamboo stick, he used to beat people. But when I first came to his studio and to sign up with my mother, he asked me, and he took my palms and he read my palms, and he said to me, are you going to finish this? And I said, yes, of course. And he said, okay. And then I signed up, and we paid whatever exorbitant amount of money we needed to pay for me to get through and become a black belt. So I had already gone through, taekwondo with Mr. McDuffie on Rhode Island Avenue. Shout out to Mr. McDuffie. I had been studying taekwondo with him since I was 7 years old in Adams Morgan, and then he moved to Rhode Island Avenue in Northeast. But anyway, the point is, I got to him, I had already had some experience, and so I was now going to take myself the rest of the way through to black belt. So I got to my brown belt, and I think it was a brown belt black stripe. So the way it would work, you get your brown belt, and then the very next belt was black. So it was white, yellow, green, blue, brown, and black. And so every time you were about to get to the next level, you would get the color of the next belt. So I was a brown belt, and my next test was the black belt test. I knew all of the forms. I knew all of the moves. I knew all of the Taekwondo. We needed to learn Aikido. I knew all of the Aikido. And the only thing I didn't know was there was a small list of words in Korean that I didn't know. And I said, well, I don't know those words, and I don't feel, I had struggled with language throughout junior high school and high school. And, I had taken, at that point, many years of French and could barely speak a word. Struggled through French. And I don't know whether it was a mental, but whatever it was, I didn't learn the Korean words. And I decided not to take the black belt test. But I went to the test. So when I went to the test and I was watching, I was like, okay, the forms, okay, the way a test works is the white belts start, and if I'm remembering right, everybody does the white belt forms. And then, I actually don't remember exactly I can't remember if it was only a black belt test, but whatever it was, when they got to the part where the people who were testing for their black belt, they went through all the moves, they went through all the forms. I was following along with it mentally because I knew them all, every single one. And then when it got to the point of the language, they stood up there, and let's say that I think there were maybe 3 or 4 people up there. And he randomly chose to pick one person, I think. And then he asked that one person, what is whatever, some word. And the guy stood there and froze. He had no idea. And someone in the audience whispered the word to him. And he said, oh, this is the answer. So, one, that showed me community, that together they were going to get through that. But it also showed me that, wait a second, I could have taken this test. But Master Kim, when I first walked in the door, subtly put in my heart and my spirit and my mind and my soul the little bit of doubt, subconsciously, am I going to finish this? Now here's the question. Did he read my palm and there was actually something in my palm that said definitively, no matter what I do, I am not going to finish this? Could that have been what he saw? Maybe. Could he have seen something in my palm that questioned whether I could finish or not? Perhaps. Or does he just ask that question of everybody? Like, I don't know. And, now that it's 30-something years later, and Master Kim was an old man at that time, I don't even know if he's alive anymore. I would actually like to find that out. I have been by the studio again, and I did notice that it was gone. But anyway, so we have one example. Denzel Washington, old woman, spoke into his heart. He was going to be successful. Master Kim put a question in my heart as to whether I was going to finish, and I didn't. To this day, I am still a brown belt in Taekwondo. So now let's go back to the names. The importance of a name is a name has a certain vibrational, energetic field. A name has a certain meaning. If your name means upright and true, and you know that, and that's drilled into your head, then you are most likely going to grow into being upright and true. If your name means a liar and a cheat, or you're named after somebody who was a liar and a cheat, and you know that, then that's probably what you're going to become. So the power of a name is very important. Now let's take it even one step further. Let's say you want to accomplish something or be somebody or have a certain trait or something of that nature. And you decide, you know what, I want to be, let's go to ancient Egypt. Let's say that you want to have balance and justice, and you want to be somebody who has balance but also has justice, and so you might, especially if you're a woman, name yourself Ma'at. I'll put a link below to, who you can read about the goddess Ma'at and what she represented. So if you can put a name that has a meaning, and you can decide, okay, I want to be somebody, that is who you will be. But you are the one who's got to make that decision. Or your parents have to make that decision for you. But it's got to get into your subconscious mind. So if you don't have a name that vibrates with you, if you don't have a name that is special to you, that is positive to you, that drives you, that encourages you on a daily basis. We talk about writing goals, we talk about vision board, we talk about thinking and visualizing and feeling and doing, we talk about all that stuff, and all that is true. But let's get back to the even more basics of you have a name that vibrates with you in a certain manner that's going to push you every day. Every single day of my life, I've woken up and my name has been Okolo. And every single time when somebody asks you, oh, Okolo, where's that from? I say the same thing. Oh, well, my father was in the Peace Corps in the 60s, and he read a book to the children named Okolo, Boy of Nigeria. He was there teaching English. And they would then ask, oh, okay, that's interesting. What does it mean? Well, it means one who's well liked by the townspeople. So I have been constantly reinforcing that in my life. Every day I wake up and I'm Okolo multiple times a day. Sometimes I say my name is Okolo, or hey, this is Okolo on the phone. That vibration is going and going and going and going. Many, 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 many more times than I could ever read my goals.
I need to change my name to Okolo.
You know what? That's not a bad idea, babe.
I'm serious.
Woo! Yeah. So, pick a name for yourself that vibrates with you, with who you want to be, with who you really are. Because in reality, who we want to be is who we really are, but we're just hiding.
Yes. We have to come to the realization of who we are.
Right. We have to come to the realization of who we are, exactly. And I don't know if anyway, this I have figured out. Everyone understands that fear is the greatest obstacle to success. Whether it be fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of success, fear of losing friends, fear of losing family, fear of having too many friends, fear of being too popular, fear of not having enough money, fear of having too much money, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But I figured out what is the greatest fear, in my opinion. Be happy to hear what other people's opinions is, or what their opinions are, what your opinion is. Our greatest fear is people knowing who we are. Knowing the good. Like, we might have these grandiose ideas of who we are in our head. Oh, I don't want to share that with the world. They might think I'm crazy.
So I used to think this fear of rejection.
Yours was fear of rejection. But fear of rejection of who you really are.
Yeah. Rejecting who I am.
You lean in a little bit. Yeah,
That's
but
what I
that's
understand.
fear of rejection of who you really are. Like, if you like to be loud and laugh and jump up and down at parties, and that's who you really are, and you used to do that as a kid in high school, and now you're like, ooh, I can't dance on the table now. I've got kids. I'm in my 20s. I'm in my 30s. I'm in my 50s. I'm in my 80s. I can't get out there and do it like this like I used to. Let me tell you something.
You better get out there.
You better get out there. And there are some people who do know who they are, and they're not afraid of letting other people see it. My grandmother was one of those people. And the reason I just thought of her, when I was at my wedding, there is a picture of her dancing with her arms up in the air, a big old smile in her face, and she was just going, yeah! I mean, she wasn't actually screaming, but she was just, you know, man, she was going at it. She didn't care what anybody had to say. I even think my father was dancing then. You know, whew, he can't dance to save his life, but he was dancing. But anyway, so, and then the other flip side of it is being afraid of people knowing who we are on the positive, is letting people know who we are on the negative side. We've got so many, every single one of us has so many skeletons in our closet.
Hang-ups.
And hang-ups and PTSD, that if that stuff started falling out, man, we'd be in a graveyard of skeletons. It ain't just me. Come on now, don't lie to you. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to me. And your skeletons may not be as big as mine. Your skeletons might be bigger than mine. It doesn't matter. Your skeletons are your skeletons, and you don't want anyone to know them. I don't want to know what they are unless you want to tell me. If you tell me, it will stay with me. You don't even have to say publicly. If you want to contact me privately and tell me, I'd be happy to hear them. But
Then he's gonna forgive you.
nah, I can't forgive you. You gotta forgive. No, I can't. You gotta forgive yourself.
Like, you are forgiven.
No, that's not how it works.
Go and no.
Nah, that's not how it works. That's nope. So you wanna? That's another whole topic.
Well, sometimes mentally they don't know how to forgive themselves, so you have to tell them. You have to play that role in your lives.
Okay. I understand. Psychologically, I can trick you into
Yeah.
forgiving yourself. Okay, if that's what it takes. So, you know, part of my journey, you know, I've shared with you my homelessness. What?
We were supposed to go to Springfield.
Isn't this?
It's
Wait.
Indian Orchard.
Oh.
No,
What?
don't worry. It's way back there. You don't want to take that exit.
Wait,
It takes
what?
you an hour, 40 minutes out of the way.
Wait.
Listen, don't worry. We just came home instead of going to Springfield.
Well, Springfield's
where I
that
needed
way.
to go. No, it isn't.
Oh, wait.
If you pass that exit 7,
This is 7.
if you pass exit 7, that's what I said. You're gonna go 20 minutes without another exit
Oh.
to turn around. Springfield was like 5 miles. We passed it 5 miles ago. Is what I'm saying. Don't worry,
Okay.
babe. Don't worry. I've done it before. When I was working somewhere else.
Okay.
Anyways.
This problem with doing videos in the car, you know, there's always either directions talking at you or
Missing exits.
missing exits or something. But anyway, so part of my journey so far has been sharing with you my experiences of homelessness, sharing with you my experiences with mental illness. You know, and I'm doing the best I can to be vulnerable. And we have to start being honest and truthful about who we really are on the positive side and the negative side, the yin and yang, the up and down, the good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, I have been given many names. I was born Okolo. I had a nickname of O. When I took my Shahada as a Muslim, I was given the name Ahmed Abdullah Muhammad. When I was a Hebrew,
Burger King.
I was given the name Lawi. Under the ancient Egyptian order, I was given the name Sobek, second, Petty. And I said, you know, all of these names have been given to me, but I'm now going to give myself a name.
Amen. That's what I was about to say.
And the name I've given myself is Men Amun Ra. So that's who I have decided I want to embody. That's who I've decided I want to become. You give yourself a name. You figure out not even who do you want to be, who are you really? Who are you really?
Nefertiti. That's who I am. I'll be back.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Peace. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Wadu.